Hi, it's me again, Uli. In my previous video, I spoke a little bit about the reason why we're doing these talks and a little bit about the background of why we're here, why I'm talking to you right now, and the synopsis of that is that I feel that it's important we are given more information about how we find solutions to what present itself to us at this moment in time. That can manifest in obviously infinite different ways, and we talked a little bit about infinite, and we also talked about these poignant times of where people really are struggling to find their way with everything that's going on. There seems to be everything going on at once for a lot of people in terms of trying to cope with life, trying to do all the pragmatic stuff and the intricacies of everyday living, looking after family, looking after themselves, their health, trying to make ends meet, trying to stay well and be healthy as much as they can. So I had noticed, and I talked about this in our last video, about how there seems to be a missing link. There seems to be a little bit of a something that we're missing out on, and I believe that there is something very, very definitely missing that can easily be reintroduced again. And the way I see it is that we have all been educated into a system of being intellectual coping strategies in terms of, sort of going to work, going about our everyday lives and so on as best as we can, without actually having been given the greater context of who we really are and why we're here. I believe that this is something that is well worth considering in terms of giving us extra help, giving us extra hope, giving us extra methods, and giving us something to look forward to, which is maybe all that we needed to know. And this is why this video, I believe, can really, really help others to understand there is a little bit more to life than what presents itself. And perhaps we've already had that hunch. Perhaps we kept thinking, there's something missing here. There's something that isn't quite as it seems or as it should be. There's got to be more to life than this, and it can't just all be suffering. It can't just all be awful. And I agree. Somebody who looks at life usually in a very positive way, but even I've been struggling, even though I've written a whole book about the whole concepts of how life fits together. It doesn't translate always into the third dimension when we have things to do, when we have to keep ourselves well, when we're all subject to problems that present themselves in everyday lives and challenges and so on. So none of us are excluded. We're all in the same shoes, we're all in the same situation of trying to make the best of life. And there are obviously people who cope better than others, and I wanted to make a point of trying to explain that it's not an exclusive club. And this is what we've been led to believe. We believe that there is some sort of exclusivity about life, that some people are more entitled than others, and they certainly behave that way sometimes as well, and that we get cross with that, we get angry of what others have that we don't seem to have. Mostly it seems to be about money and material things. But this is not it. That's not it. Money isn't the answer. Material things aren't the answer. The 3D world doesn't give us the permanence that we're looking for. Everything that's in the third dimension on this planet is impermanent, and we have to come to terms with that. It's not an imposition. It's something we can get outraged about as much as we want to. But to be honest with you, that's one of the laws of the universe is that everything is impermanent, because 1 second I was talking about something else 5 minutes ago, and now is a different moment altogether again. So why there can be continuity to my talk, you don't know what's going to happen next in the future. You don't know where my mind is at. You don't know what my karma is. You know, I might just keel over, and hopefully not. But what I'm trying to say is that applies to everything in this universe and beyond. So as long as we're talking about everything that is matter, we are subject to the law of impermanence. So everything has a shelf life. And whilst that doesn't make us feel very good about life, and this is not what I mean by, oh yeah, be all hopeful because everything is not going to be the same the next day, there is also something that will continuously prevail and something that will carry on existing. And that something, that is our aliveness. And I'd like to bring that across a little bit more, how important it is that we remind ourselves how precious that is and how incredibly valuable that is, because how complicated it has been for us in this life, however complicated it has been in this life, it's certainly been even more complicated in previous lives to create who we are right now. We have 2 eyes, we have a nose, we have a mouth, we have a face, we have hands, and even if we don't have all of these physical attributes, even if some of it is missing, if some of it is lacking, we are still alive. So that is what aliveness is. It doesn't even matter what we have in terms of physical functioning. We are here and we're allowed to be here, and we have earned our right to be on this planet. What keeps us alive, most people think that it's a physical thing. Again, we connect everything to 3, the tangible 3rd dimension. What keeps us alive is not just our blood circulation. It's not just our nervous system. It's not just our brain ticking over. It's not just our heart. It's not just our willpower. It's energy. And the energy that prevails in the universal space, in the omnipresence that I mentioned in the last video, is all around us. So again, it sounds a little bit far out, and I could certainly take the mick out of it as much as the next person, but that is the truth with a capital T. The energy particles that make us us are around us at all times. And we become one with them again at some point without the physical existence, without the physical body. They will prevail. That energy that is us, that is not just tangible, and it's sometimes visible to some people. Some people see energy around us. Some people sort of see auras around. Their energy frequencies, their energy, how shall I say it any different? Their patterns, they are sequences, they are very, very intricate phenomena, I almost want to call it, for each individual being. And so what makes me me and incarnate into this life is a very specific energy pattern that was created and just floating around there in nothingness, in the emptiness, until such time when it converged and it was time for it to incarnate into a physical body. And it then created a physical body, or co-created this physical body together with all the physical attributes that were already prevalent. But it chose to be attracted to a particular body and a particular situation, a particular time and space and place where it would incarnate. It basically chose its own existence according to what it was before. So everything that we've been before, everything that we've thought before, everything that we've done before, everything that we say from second to second is recorded and remains intact even after we pass, our physical existence passes. So you can begin to understand, maybe when I sort of express it, in every second of our lives is recorded, that the enormity of what that actually means. And whilst I'm just a humble human being, I probably can't explain it as well as, I don't know, Einstein, or some other amazing intellectual person. But I can explain how that can then influence us, and what the consequence of that would be if we accepted that that is true for each and every one of us. So the miracle and the magic that happens in terms of making us reincarnate again, making us come back again from the energy state of just kind of suspended animation, maybe, something like that, and every part of us still being coherent, still being in existence somewhere. The moment that then that decides to converge again through an attraction process like electromagnetism, because all of the particles that are us have to kind of come together and condense again to become as small as possible, like a seed, the size of a tiny seed, in order to come back into existence. And this energy seed, that's what I want to call it. I want to call it an energy seed, is what reincarnates, not like a whole physical body. That's, I think, what people are struggling with, the concept of reincarnation, in terms of, sort of how's that possible, sort of how would I reincarnate, sort of how can I take all of my attributes with me into this next life? It's all about DNA and so on. Have we ever thought about what DNA actually is? It's in energy particles converging to become an energy spiral. And the DNA plays very much a part of, together with the energy seed, as to who we become in future. And yes, we take on attributes from the DNA of our parents, but we have a very, very individual blueprint. So the energy seed that comes with that blueprint into a lifetime is programmed to make the best of that life, to try and prevail throughout another term of existence. We bring with us the desire to be alive, the desire to stay alive, and the urge to kind of express ourselves as much as we can. But of course, we all start out as tiny little babies. And as tiny little babies, we are in the hands of our guardians or our parents in many cases. But whoever's there to take care of us, it starts, and still does and has done for millions of years and eons of lifetimes, it has been through the womb of a female. So the female principle is there as a nurturing principle in order to create, to co-create and help create this new life. And a lot happens from the time that we incarnate as a seed, as a sentient seed, in, with all that we've been before, in this tiny, tiny chip-sized computer-style kind of program, into physical existence. So our bodies then are also a part of that program. It's part of the seed that is trying to, that is beyond actually anything that's computerized. It's beyond anything part of a binary code that we're so used to using. So I'm using some camera equipment right now that will then get uploaded onto a computer system that can read it, because it's part of a binary code. And in a couple of years we'll have a different crystalline code or something, and yet it's still a man-made concept. Have we ever realized that life is not man-made? We cannot make life. None of us are able and have ever been able to make life. Life comes to us as what it already is and always has done. even when we make babies, you know, the father principle and the mother principle, the yin, the yang, when all of that converges, with a little bit of luck, it turns into a being, whether that's animal or human. It's all the same concept. It has to come together from those two complementary forces. But if we try and create life in in a binary way, we can't we can't create a computer that is sentient. We can try our very, very best by imposing our own programs onto it and then liken it to something that's alive. We can even be fooled by it sometimes, so some of these more modern sentient computers that look like beings, like human beings, quite lifelike, are actually quite scary in their ability to be learning with their computer chips inserted into them, and have muscular features, they have eyes and so on, and they look really crazily alive. And we're very fooled by that. We just think, oh, there we are, we're very, very close to creating life. We are unable to create life. We cannot even create a blade of grass. Bear that in mind, because it's already there. Everything that we need to be, everything that we already are, is already there. We don't need to recreate it. We don't need to have any desire necessarily in order to stay alive, so that we can, by recreating aliveness. It's been that Frankenstein principle where lots and lots of people are really fascinated by science fiction, by sort of anything that has to do with technology and so on. And I'm not dissing it. I'm saying it's a phenomenon which can coexist, as we learned in the last video. Everything coexists. So it exists, but it's also not necessary, because we're already alive. But we're maybe not doing enough with that aliveness, and we're maybe not understanding enough with our brains, because we can't see with our senses either where our aliveness comes from. So we need to maybe spend a little bit more time to understand where our aliveness comes from and what it means for us in every individual life. The reason why there are infinite lifetimes for us individually, and also infinite life forms possible at any given time and over time as well, over eons of time, is because all of our karmic blueprints that we bring into our aliveness, the only thing that stays alive even after our physical body perishes, is because it's an individual experience. My experience sitting here right now is not the same experience as you listening. What I'm feeling is not the same as what you're feeling. What I'm trying to convey might not be what you hear, because your experience is different from mine. What your belief systems are is different from mine. And yet we all have one thing in common. We all want to be happy. We all want to exist. We all want to be alive, even at the worst times when people get so low in their energy and their energy flow that they actually forget that their aliveness is precious. And again, I'm not dissing anybody who gets to that state. I'm saying it's very understandable that we get to that state, because we've not been educated about the preciousness of our aliveness, because we've not been educated how to sustain it, because we've not been shown from an early age how precious it is, because we've lost that ability to believe. Did you see that? I love these moments when upside down, when I get passionate about something, it really feels like there are a million people behind me talking to me, going, yes, 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 and the energy just knocks something over. Yeah, it can sound a little bit crazy. I'm going to finish this part to move on to the next part, so it's easily uploadable. So I'll just leave you with that tiny little glitch there, and I'll see you soon. Okay.